Hello, sorry it took me so long to get back to you, man. I've been real busy. Rather than typing it all out, I want to show you what I've got going here. You're asking what the minimum tooling is and the minimum investment, so to speak, to get started in it, in the blacksmithing. And my forge is really just a makeshift forge, and I want to show you that and show you a couple of tools that you can buy at Harbor Freight that will get you started and have lasted me about a year. And I've made a good bit of money off of it. I mean, it helps me pay the bills. So I'm gonna turn this off, shift this around, and show you the forge that I built out of the top of a grill and Harbor Freight anvil and things like that. Finding coal can be kind of hard around here. This is the bituminous coal that you want to use. Now this is mostly dust. I've got some pine needles in there because I left it open. But I do use this for forge welding and things I need a lot of heat for. I just keep it covered in a trash can. But typically what I use most of the time is this right here. Royal Oak, 30-pound bag, 15 bucks. It'll last you quite a while for doing what you want to do. Lasts you even longer once you get your fire control down. That's what I got going in here right now. And I've been making these guys. I've got 20 of those I've got to make. It's a double duty tent stake for some SCA medieval reenactors, and they wanted some of these. They wanted 20 of them, so I'm making 20 of those. But charcoal, man, lump charcoal, that's really all you need to get started. And I think that everybody should learn to use every kind of coal: charcoal, bituminous coal, anthracite. Anthracite sometimes you can get at Tractor Supply, but I don't have any anthracite right now. They usually only have it in the wintertime and usually only in Mariana, but it's cheap and it does a good job. It's just hard to keep lit. Start out with charcoal. So here's the forge that I built out of the top of a grill. I had like a little smoker grill like you can buy anywhere, Lowe's or whatever. I cut out a piece of a barrel to hold it up. It's just the top of the grill, and I use this right here where the smoke would come out as my ash dump, as you can see all the ashes under here. But also I use it to increase my air input. Close that. See how that cooks up? All right, so that's an air control. And for air induction, what I'm using is just an old hair dryer motor. Pick up a hair dryer for $3 at a thrift store. I didn't have a flange to fit it in here, so I used a beer can I had laying around. It happened to be the right size for this, and that's been going for me for about a year now. It's a DC motor, so I hooked it into a DC power supply. Picked up for $15 at a thrift store, and that goes into a thing here, which is I can turn on and off. Sometimes I have it set up so that it's so that I can use it with my foot if I need to, if I'm doing fast work. But that's it, man. As far as tools, buy yourself a Harbor Freight anvil. You hear a lot of people talk crap about them, and they're not great. As you can see here, there's a lot of dents in mine. But there's nothing broken, and it's still very usable, and I use it every day. I think it was like, what, 60 bucks, maybe less than that for 55-pound anvil. I use it a lot. As far as tools, you'll end up making some tongs. You'll end up making tongs for specific jobs that you can't really find anywhere, or can't buy, or you don't want to buy. Here's a set of tongs that I use that are specifically for holding railroad spikes that I made because I needed to be able to hold railroad spikes. So blacksmithing is a lot about making your own tools, but to start out you want to make small things because you want to get the basics down, which are tapering and rounding square things and squaring round things and bending. And these tools right here came from Harbor Freight. I think it's $10 for a set for both of these, and I think maybe one more. I don't remember. Maybe it's just these two. But these have lasted me a year, you know. And they grab things. You got an angle there for grabbing things if you need to, or you got straight tongs here for grabbing things. You know, they're mechanic tools, but they work. For scrolling, like if you're doing small twists or things like that, pair of needle nose. You do want to get yourself a brush, because that keeps the scale off of your anvil, keeps the scale off of your piece that you're working on. As far as a hammer, this is what I use more than anything. It's a ball peen hammer. Bought it at Sadie's Flea Market. Didn't cost much, maybe 10 bucks. Also, you can pick one of these up at Harbor Freight for about 10 bucks. This is the actual blacksmith's hammer. This is called a cross peen hammer. If you're doing big work, this is about a 2.5 pounder. it will wear your shoulder out. But you do need to have one of these and one of these. And those are really the only two hammers I've used most of the time. I do have a smaller ball peen that I use for small work and rounding out rivets and things like that. Another hammer that I carry, keep around, is this guy, which is just a sheet metal hammer or brick hammer. Works well for flattening things. It really doesn't take a lot, man. Just get yourself an anvil. As you see, I've got pine stumps here that I use. Drove some railroad spikes in them to hold my hammers and things. It doesn't take a lot. Just get an anvil, get a hammer, get something to heat it up with, and get started. That's what it's all about. And I hope you have a good time doing it. I hope you really get into it, you and your boy. And I'm glad you guys are interested. Do get in touch with the Forge Council, though. They've got a lot more tools and actually a power hammer that you can use for bigger things, and so much knowledge with those guys. They've got so much they could teach you. But as far as getting started, man, it doesn't take much.